Okie dokie, seventh graders. Happy Wednesday. Halfway through. Today we're going to look at the final factors that lead the U.S. to declare war against Great Britain in 1812. Hence, the War of 1812. Um, Tensions with the British and the Native American tribes led by Tecumseh and his Confederacy continued to really mount up. As previously mentioned, we know that the U.S. signed a treaty with Napoleon that said that we would embargo the British. The British saw this as an act of aggression. They continued to impress our soldiers. Once again, not like, like, hey, look at this cool trick. No, impress them by forcing them to serve in their military and fight in their war and seize U.S. ships that they felt were supporting and trading with the French. So the tension with England continues to be there. On top of it, after Tippecanoe, it is found out by U.S. Government soldiers, they investigating weaponry of Tecumseh's Confederacy. They see that they're using British weapons, and they come to determine that the British have been providing guns and supplies to Tecumseh and his confederation and his military. And they've also been allowing them to move freely throughout Canada, so that way they can organize better and prepare to attack the American settlers. And they feel that basically the British are empowering Tecumseh's army to attack its settlers. And that's something that angers a lot of Americans because they feel they have a right to settle in those territories, regardless of whether or not Tecumseh and his people claim it and had lived there for many thousands of years. So this starts people clamoring for war in Congress. In particular, we're going to see a lead of two gentlemen. This guy is Henry Clay of Kentucky. And this guy is John C. Calhoun of South Carolina. Both of these fellas are going to become really pivotal figures of the U.S. government and U.S. history in this next century. In this time period between, the end of the people that led us to the revolution. Like after Jefferson's done, that's the last of our leaders that were really a big part of the American Revolution, and the people that are in between the leadership of the Revolution and the beginning of the U.S. Civil War. They're kind of that middle part, and they will play a big role also in leading up to that U.S. Civil War. So these two guys at this point were actually friends. It's funny because they really become bitter enemies later on. But Clay and Calhoun lead a group of people called the Warhawks. Insert bird noise here. So they want war with England for a number of reasons. One, there's a huge wave of nationalism that's going on in America during this time period. Nationalism isn't just patriotism. It's like patriotism times 20. It's like not just, hey, my country's awesome, I love my country. It's my country is greater than any other country, and we have a right to take anything from other people because they're weaker and less than us. You want to see nationalism in its real awful sense? Look at Nazism, the Nationalist Socialist Party. They felt that they were right and entitled to take land from people because they were better and superior to them. Nationalism can be a very dangerous thing. Resentment is another reason. There's still a chip on the shoulder in the American consciousness about the British. They feel that the British still haven't accepted the U.S. as a nation. They're still treating us like a little kid. We're still a colony. They haven't accepted who we are, and we want to show them that we're big kids now. They can't push us around. That type of thing. Imperialism is another big factor because they want to spread the United States territory. They want to conquer territory that is not owned by the U.S. They want to take control of the Florida Peninsula, and they also want to take control of Canada. The U.S. is going to invade Canada during the War of 1812, something that's often forgot. And, bigotry. in particular toward the Native Americans. They wanted to weaken the Native American forces in the West, who they see as a threat. And there's a lot of prejudice towards the Native Americans that drives that. Not everybody was big on the war, though, especially people in New England. Like this guy, a senator from New Hampshire by the name of Daniel Webster, who's going to be another big figure in America and American history in the 1800s. So this is like, kind of like the new kids coming to the block with the War of 1812. Daniel Webster opposes the war like many people from New England. They feel that it'll interfere with triangle trade, with commerce. They depend on trade with England, with the ships out of the New England ports that run triangle trade, selling off raw materials from the New World. Also, the New England factories count on selling their goods to England and using English trade to carry off their goods. And for them, they're not really that concerned with Western expansion or all those things. And they really try to push against this war. And some even refuse to send soldiers to serve and fight, which is pretty provocative if you think about it, because if the U.S. is at war, all the U.S. states are at war. You can't just say, "Oh, we're not going to fight." No, the whole country's at war. There was even what was shown here, a Hartford Convention. You can tell that this was a pro-Warhawk cartoon that's showing that the people at the Hartford Convention from New England wanted to jump back into the arms of King George. That didn't really go so well, but they were even calling to secede from the Union, to start their own country, New England, because of this war. So it was pretty controversial. Even with all that, the Warhawks are ultimately successful. Public pressure is ultimately successful. And unlike Washington, Adams, and Jefferson, who kept the U.S. out of war, Madison gets us to war. That is why it's often referred to as Mr. Madison's War, the War of 1812. So, what factors led the Warhawks to push for war against Britain in 1812? And do you think they were justified in wanting that war? Write down your answers. I can't wait to read them. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.